Hey folks, welcome back to my channel. I hope that you're well. Today I have a short soothing sequence for you. So you can do this sitting on the floor, you can do it sitting on your bed, you can be on a chair. It's going to be mainly upper body focused, and I'm going to do a separate video for a standing version because the standing version, it's really nice to get your legs involved. But this is just for upper body, and it's a really nice sequence to add on to the start of a practice to warm up, the end of a practice to start to cool down, depending on what you've been doing. It's really great for just before you go to bed, or any time when you need a little bit of a wind down. So if you feel like your energy is a little too high, or if you've got maybe some nervous energy, some anxieties that are present, then this is a really lovely sequence to help try to soothe that. It's linked to the water element. So as we move through this sequence, I want you to think about how water flows and how it moves over and around obstacles that might be in the way. And we can relate this to obstacles that we might have in our life. I think we can all relate to that in some way. And you might not have any obstacles in your life at the moment, but it's thinking about that fluid movement. There are two ends of the scale when it comes to water. Water, we know, can be quite destructive, and it can be really harsh and powerful, but let's think of the more soothing and calming aspect of it. So, you know, like a very calm river. So try not to be too rigid with your movements, obviously depending on how your body feels today, and if you might be feeling tired, stiff, achy, it might not feel flowy, so please do not worry about that. I encourage you to have your eyes closed and really feel through the movements. So let's get into a comfortable seated position. I'm sitting up on a pillow. If you've got a nice sturdy pillow or a bolster, you might want to sit up a little higher, thinking hips higher than knees. You can sit up on a couple of blocks. So I recommend 2 blocks side by side to give you a nice base. You can have legs crossed, you can have soles of feet together, knees wide, maybe even with a couple of blocks underneath or pillows underneath the outsides of your legs. You can play around. So if you are on the floor, have a little play around with the position of your legs as we go through these movements. Of course, at any point you can pause the video and you can change what you're doing with your legs and try the movements in different ways. This is all about you exploring and seeing what works for you and seeing what helps you to soothe. Of course, if you're sat on a chair or your bed, have your feet flat to the floor and give yourself a little bit of space. So if you've got a back on your chair, sit slightly forward so that it's not in the way. Let's take a moment to settle in. So palms facing down. Let's think calming, grounding. You could bring your thumb and forefinger together and extend your other 3 fingers out in Jnana Mudra. So the gesture of knowledge or wisdom. This is a very grounding hand gesture as we're turning the palms to face down. And you might want to close your eyes or soften your gaze and look down ever so slightly. So we're looking down but almost out in front rather than down towards our legs or lap. Take a couple of deep sighing breaths in through your nose, out through your mouth. You might let your breath out with an audible sound. So taking that deep breath in, send it down towards your stomach. Let it out with a sigh. we're going to take a humming breath or Bhramari breath. This is optional, you might just want to listen, but you might also want to give it a go because this is a really soothing breathing technique. So lips together. We take a breath in through our nose and then you hum it out. So we breathe in. And you let it all the way out and then you breathe in. And you can keep it going. And as you do, focus on the sound, the vibrations that you might feel through your body. Have your eyes closed if that feels comfortable. You can take as many as you like. I'm going to take 2 more. Let's breathe in. Breathe in. And then come back to your natural breath. Notice how you feel. So humming is a really great way of entering into chanting. It's really good for the throat chakra, your communication, and the vibration's really lovely for soothing through your body. Continue to breathe in and out through your nose if that feels available. And slow your breath down. You can release thumb and forefinger if you took that option, and we're just going to start to take some circles through our shoulders. So leaning over to one side, lean back. You might find a bit of broadness across your upper back as you take it over to the other side and then lean forward. And it's your choice how far round you want to go. So you can see that as I lean back, my legs start to lift. I'm feeling the base of my body on the floor. Now you can keep the lower half of your body exactly where it is, especially if you're sitting on a chair, and you can just move and circle through your rib cage. And try and link your movement with your breath. So inhaling around one side of your circle and exhaling around the other. I recommend about 10 in one direction and then pausing and taking 10 in the other direction. Again, thinking about that flowing, fluid movement of water, but noticing how it feels in your body today. So there's no judgments if it feels clunky, stiff. We're trying to move through any tension or tightness. And coming all the way back to center, lifting up through the crown of your head, and start to rock your rib cage from side to side. And you might even move your head so you can see that As my rib cage goes one side, my ear drops down towards the opposite shoulder. You could even turn your head from side to side. And then coming back to center and moving forwards and backwards. So it's a little bit like a cat-cow. Inhale to scoop your chest forward, and then exhale to lean back. Rocking forwards and backwards. Maybe thinking about the movement coming through your pelvis, so especially if you're sat cross-legged or with your soles of feet together and knees wide, your pelvis takes a rocking action as well, tilting forwards and backwards. You might even feel this if you're sitting on a chair and your feet are flat to the floor. And then coming back to center, lifting up, having a little roll of your shoulders forwards and backwards. And you can always cross your legs the opposite way. So if you have a habitual way of crossing your legs, I recommend taking a moment in between to shake out your legs and then cross them the opposite way and try and stay in this position for the same amount of time as you did on the first side. And we're going to inhale to float arms up and exhale to flow arms down. Inhale, reach up, maybe lifting your gaze. Exhale, float your arms down as you lower your chin. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, flow arms down, keeping everything soft. Shoulders, elbows, wrists, fingertips. And really getting into that flowing movement and playing around with it. So as you lift up, you might even cross your arms and then float your arms down, depending on how you're sitting and how much space you've got around you. You might even bring your hands into your lap. And then the next time you float your arms up, taking a breath in, on an exhale, let's take a side bend over to the right, floating your hand down. You could bring your hand onto a block or you could bring it to the floor. We're going to come back to center on the inhale and then exhale over to the other side. Inhale back to center and exhale, taking your side bend to the right. Inhale back to center and exhale over to the left. Now you could keep your arms up in the center, but if that feels uncomfortable in your shoulders, then you could float the arm down before the other one lifts. So this is my preferred version, flowing from one side to the other. And find a breathing pattern that works for you. We'll take a couple more, each side. And then come back to center. Float both of your arms down. Relax your shoulders. You could have your palms turned down again. You could turn your palms to face up. Very open and receiving and giving gesture. Come back to your breath. Notice how you feel. Notice how your body feels, your mind. Checking in. Noticing the effects of what you've just done. And there's no right or wrong answer. You might need a little longer. You might need something more energizing today. And let's finish with 3 Bhramari breaths. So let's breathe in. Let your breath out completely with a sigh. And then breathe in and hum it out. Breathing in when you need to. Breathing in. And then coming back to your natural breath. Taking a few moments of silence, maybe stillness. And then blinking your eyes open if they're not already open. Inhale to sweep your arms wide, reach them up. Exhale, bring your palms together and slide your hands all the way down to your heart space. Little bow of your head, bowing down to yourself, thanking yourself for taking this time to practice, to soothe. Taking a moment to be thankful that we have this yoga in our life and that we can practice. And a huge thank you from me. Thank you so much, everyone. I really hope that you enjoyed this practice. Let me know how you get on. And if you've got any thoughts, any comments, please drop me a comment in the box below. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye.